Welcome back to my channel. I'm Mark Phillips, and in this series we talk about big ideas from books and essays, movies, anything that is valuable and helpful to human beings to enhance our experience. And in this video I'm going to be doing something a little bit different. I mean, all things are fair game in this series. This is actually the Watchtower, which is a Jehovah's Witness publication. I'm not Jehovah's Witness, just FYI, but this actually arrived in the mail the other day, and I thought, you know what? I'm going to read this. I went through it and highlighted information because I'm an information and knowledge junkie. I want to know it all and then see what lines up with other philosophies and theologies and religions and spiritual traditions. I want to know it all, and that's part of what we do in this series. Is we look at 5 pieces of information, or really any number of pieces, number of any ideas. I've got about 3 ideas I want to share with you here, and then an overarching idea, and we talk about them in relation to what other people are saying, because in my experience, that's how we know something is more legit, right? It's kind of a scientific approach. We're going to see what other people are saying. We talk about how it correlates, and I'm going to share with you some ideas that are similar to what other religions and spiritual traditions and philosophers talk about. And so again, this is the Watchtower. I am not going to give you any background on the Jehovah's Witness because I didn't have time to do that. I'm kind of doing this on the fly, but I thought it was very, very pertinent to share this type of information. So what it is, I received this the other day, and the general overarching theme, they talk a lot about death, and I want to touch on that in a moment. They talk about death as being our enemy, right? And the thing that human beings despise and hate the most. And I don't agree with that. I do not agree with that. I used to kind of think that way, and I feared death, and I was not super happy about the fact that I will die one day. But over the last 5 or so years, as I go deeper down this rabbit hole of knowledge and wisdom about spirituality, I don't care about death at all. Now, having said that, I don't want to be in pain, right? I still care about pain and suffering, but I do not care about death at all. And the major primary reason for that is because I'm more and more starting to live my life purpose, and I'm expressing the joy that is within me. I'm expressing my divinity. You have divinity within you. You have things you want to create. I'm really tuning in and staying super focused on being a conscious creator, not creating by default, but creating by design, staying in my zone of genius, which at the ultimate high end, we all have the same zone of genius, and that is joy and happiness and bliss, right? Whatever brings you joy, whatever excites you. Earlier in this series, I talked about Bashar's The Formula, and that's all about excitement, right? If you haven't watched that, I encourage you to check it out. I'll also be doing another video about Bashar here, talking about his principles, because that's another document that he has, and I'll talk about that. But I don't care about death anymore. If I die today or tomorrow, I will die happy, because it all comes down to what Leonardo da Vinci said. And I may get this quote a little off, but I will correct it in a visual on the screen when I edit this. But Leonardo da Vinci said, just as a well-spent day brings restful sleep, a well-spent life brings peaceful death. And I think that when we spend our life doing something that brings us joy, that we find deep meaning and fulfillment in, and that makes the world a better place, and that excites us, that makes us feel alive, that is a true expression of who we really are, we're going to die a peaceful death. And I can do that now because I've already walked on the path of what I wanted to do, and which is start talk shows, create content, write books, express myself. And by the way, I've got a new talk show coming out soon that I am very excited to do. It's another evolution of going deeper into the cave, like Joseph Campbell talked about, right? The treasure we seek is in the cave we fear to enter. And I think that cave is never ending. In your own life, you have a cave that holds a treasure. Your little voice inside of you says, try this, do this. Your intuition is giving you clues about what you came here to do. Like, we pack our spiritual suitcase, and before we come into the world, and there's like plans in there that we came to do stuff, right? And so our goal is to open up the spiritual suitcase and see what we came to do. So they talk a lot about death as being like the greatest enemy of human beings, and I actually do not feel that way. I actually view death as my ally. And I think I've talked about this in other videos, that when I wake up in the morning, I'm like, okay, I got another day. How can I make this day be the best day I've lived so far? And it doesn't have to be anything extravagant. It just has to be speaking my truth, creating the things I want to create in the world, shaping the world in the way that I want to shape it, right? Expressing the things that I want to create in the world and I want to see in the world. And so I look at it as an opportunity. And if death wasn't imminent, then I may not have this sense of urgency that I always have. And I don't mean always, I mean within the last number of years, and it gets more and more pronounced, probably partly because I'm getting older, or as I get older, as I age, I get wiser. And I know the value of time, right? And I don't want to squander time, which doesn't mean I don't relax from time to time, but mostly I want to be doing the things I came here to do, creating the things. So they talk about death and talk about how to extend death, and the fact that in the Bible talks about a lot of those characters, they lived, hundreds of years. They talk about like 900 plus years. So that's the overarching theme in this pamphlet, is about death, right? And that it talks about how Adam and Eve ate from the tree of knowledge, or the forbidden fruit, so to speak, and then their punishment was that they would die. And so that's what that's all about. But here's the thing. Having said that, I want to share with you, and they make it easy on me, because what they did is they pulled out, they had 3 bullet points right here, and I want to share these with you. And this is where the big ideas come in. Death was just the overarching theme. Okay, big idea number 1, live in the now. Be content in the present moment. And this is basically the same thing that Eckhart Tolle talks about. This is basically, a very Zen Buddhist principle. Focus on the now. That's really all we can do. In my own journey, over the last number of months, I've started not focusing so much on the things that I want, on the things that are on my vision board, right? On the dreams that I want to have. And I've started focusing on being appreciative of what I do have, what I love and appreciate about my life right now. And I got to tell you, it's made a radical change in my level of happiness. Now, I still have a vision board. I still have goals and dreams and a bucket list, speaking of death, but I don't focus on those so much. And if I do, it's from kind of a different perspective, a really appreciative perspective from the moment, from the now moment. I really appreciate the now moment. So this says, be content with present things. And that's a verse from the Bible. And along those lines, it's said to avoid the love of money and value people, not things. And I couldn't agree more with those statements. As I go on my journey, I realize that my friendships, my family relationships are the most valuable things. And even if I have a lot of monetary or material things and money, wealth, they will never replace the value that I hold to my friends and family, because without people in our lives to share our lives with, life gets a little less fun. So that's the big idea number 1. Be content. Don't focus so much on money and things. Focus more on relationships and people in your life. Big idea number 2 goes along with that, and it's to be appreciative. This is huge. Like I was saying, when we appreciate what we have in our lives, we open up a channel for more to happen. I think a lot about this idea of, to he that has, more will be given. To he or she that has, more will be given. And that's dependent on us. I've talked about this in other videos. That's dependent on our frame of mind. Whether you have or have not, it's up to you. Like, you're blessed. In some way, shape, or form, you're blessed. In many ways and shape and forms, I'm blessed. If I don't see it and acknowledge it, that's on me. Because I'm blessed right now with this beautiful day, with the ability to sit in this car and make this video about things that I love and enjoy and express and talk about what I love. That's a huge freaking blessing, right? And if I don't take advantage of it, that's on me. But the other thing that this second big idea about being appreciative is, they talk about doing things for others. And let's open up this awesome can of knowledge. We know, and sometimes we forget, I'm just as guilty, that the true joy is in service to others. Rabindranath Tagore talked about this, and he said that, he slept and dreamt that something, he awoke and something, he realized, I'm murdering this quote, and I'll put it as a visual image on the screen, but he realized when he woke that service was joy. And that's awesome, because I've experienced that in my own life. Even doing things that are very much outside of my passion for knowledge and wisdom and talking and podcasts and talking about this type of stuff. Even simple things that are way outside of that, it's the service. And maybe you've experienced this in your own life. It doesn't matter what you're doing. If you're in service, it gives us a purpose and it lights us up from the inside. Another person who touched on this is Albert Schweitzer. And I've mentioned this before in other videos as well. And he said something to the effect of that he doesn't know who you are, what you're doing, but he does know the ones that are truly happy are the ones who have learned how to serve. And again, I'll put this quote up on the screen visually, but if you've learned how to serve, you know you're in joy. So that's a common theme. And when you do things for other people in the spirit of joy, you're going to light up in so many ways. And it doesn't have to be something that is in your zone of genius. It can be something seemingly insignificant. That's the second big idea. Be appreciative and do things for others. Third and final is this idea of expressing love. Now they talk about it in the idea of marriage, right? But let's talk about it just in the idea of friendship or relationship. When you express your love, some people, I think it's Emmett Fox, said God is love. You know, we're little expressions of love and joy, and the more that we open ourselves and express into the world, the happier our lives get. So they're talking about it in a marriage relationship, but it can be in a friendship relationship as well. Ideas like love is a verb, right? Love is an action thing. How do you show your love? That's where it really comes down to, that's where it really rubber hits the road, and expressing your love in that way. So just remember, that's the ideas. What are you doing today to show love to your family and friends? Even on an energetic, subconscious little maybe you're going to send them a little message of love, right? Even the fact that you love and appreciate them and you just feel that in your heart and that's emanating out to the world, that's sometimes enough in itself. I don't think you got to call them up every day and go, I love you, I appreciate you. I mean, that could be nice, but that's probably going to get old real quick. Just wake up every morning and go to bed every night with love in your heart, love and appreciation for the things you have, the people in your life, your loving relationships, your friendship relationships, your family relationships, and I think that's enough. So those are 3 big ideas from this little Watchtower pamphlet that I received in the mail the other day. A little bit different from some of the other things that I review in this series of big ideas, but I think it's very pertinent. Like I said, I'm all about reading anything and understanding anything and then integrating it in with the knowledge that I already do have, and we see how it correlates. So I hope this has been helpful to you, and if you like this video in any way, shape, or form, or got some value out of it, please give me a thumbs up. That would be super awesome. Leave me a comment down below. Let me know what your favorite takeaway here was and what you may think of the Watchtower. Maybe you've read it. Maybe you know a little bit more about Jehovah's Witness than I know. Like I said, I know next to nothing, if not nothing. So I hope this video finds you well. Be sure to subscribe if you want more videos like this. Like I say, I've got a lot of good content coming. Some movies, some essays, some one-page essays, books, all sorts of stuff. This Big Ideas series is really exciting to me because I think that there's so much awesome knowledge and wisdom out there. And you know me, I love sharing knowledge and wisdom that is beneficial to us human beings on our journey, because I think that's where the good things happen. Just like this, you know, the Watchtower talks about death as being an enemy or an unpleasant experience. I don't agree with that, just because of the other things that I've learned and the other things that I've integrated into my knowledge base so far in my journey. And I'm glad that I have, because I don't want to fear any aspect of life, and I believe that death is just an aspect of life. So I hope this video finds you well. Thank you so much for watching. We'll wrap it up. Until next time, I wish you all the best health, wealth, and success. Thanks so much.